Thank you, Excellencies. You may return to your seats. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we will now commence with the joint press conference. May I now invite Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia, to deliver his statement.
Selamat tengah hari, Perdana Menteri Albanese, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. We are really encountering post-normal times. We did discuss this. Developments are unanticipated and they continue to haunt us because we are not able to fairly and squarely craft an agenda forward because many of these issues are quite unresolved. Disruptions both in terms of production and supply chains. So the world certainly looks different today, Prime Minister, than it did when you were here in Kuala Lumpur last October. The Straits of Hormuz have been effectively closed for nearly 7 weeks. Global energy markets are under severe stress. Supply chains are disrupted. And the consequences are plummeting through the 7 seas. Now, this is, of course, the backdrop of our meeting today. I'm, of course, extremely grateful that the exchange has been very frank, cordial, as great friends, not only in terms of bilateral relationship, but based on trust. And that was what I said, and I want to repeat this publicly. Malaysia will always be a reliable partner to Australia. We will be mates. I don't know why you use that term. Through thick and thin, as we have always been. Our discussions today covered trade, investments, and agriculture. But given the state of the world today, I want to start with energy. Malaysia and Australia share strong interdependence in energy resources, including fuel and LNG. We have existing agreements, and today we reaffirmed our commitment to them. We also signed a joint statement on energy security, reflecting our commitment to stable and resilient energy supplies. We also witnessed the signing of the MOU between Malaysia's Department of Islamic Development, or JAKIM, and Australia's Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries. This will enhance market access for both countries. We also agreed to deepen cooperation in agriculture, including sharing expertise in production and irrigation, to ensure sustainable food supply for both Malaysians and Australians. Let no one mistake the weight of what we signed today. When supply chains are disrupted and food prices are increasing and rising, agreements like these have a direct impact on people's lives. The distance between a signed agreement and a family's dinner table is shorter than most people imagine. I also wish to touch on Palestine. There is a ceasefire in Gaza, but let us be honest about what that has meant so far. The killings have not stopped. The hunger has not ceased. In the West Bank, settlements continue to expand and violence continues to escalate with utter impunity. The world must not avert its gaze and allow a ceasefire to become the silence of the grave. What the Palestinian people need is a just and lasting solution, and that means a viable sovereign state. Malaysia will not waver on this matter of principle and conscience. I appreciate Australia's stance on Gaza, calling for an end to hostilities. supporting humanitarian assistance, and working towards a lasting resolution. That position matters, and Malaysia welcomes that. Prime Minister Albanese, thank you again for making this journey to Kuala Lumpur. These conversations matter, and I'm glad we are having them. I look forward to continuing the work when we meet in Australia next year, or I'm sure before that. But the Australian meeting will be the 4th annual leaders meeting. Until then, let us make good on what we have promised today. Thank you.
Thank you, Yang Amat Berhormat. May I now invite the Honourable Anthony Albanese, Prime Minister of Australia, to deliver his statement.
Well, thank you, Prime Minister, for your generous words and your very warm welcome here in Kuala Lumpur. Australia, like Malaysia, is deeply concerned about the situation in the Middle East. Our priority is de-escalation. We want to see the ceasefire upheld, negotiations continue, and for this conflict to be swiftly resolved. This is a conflict that has caused unprecedented energy supply shocks right across the globe. And to meet this challenge, Australia is working in cooperation with our close friends, including Malaysia. Australian resources help to power our region, and our farmers help to feed the region. Nearly 60% of Malaysia's wheat and 75% of its lamb and beef come from Australia. And our neighbours know that providing fuel and fertiliser to Australia helps put food on the table in this region. We rely on each other for fuels, including crude petroleum and natural gas. And Malaysian urea helps Australia grow crops like wheat that we supply here, contributing to Malaysia's food security. As comprehensive strategic partners, we're working together to prepare and shield our citizens from the worst of the impacts of this global conflict. And today I am pleased that we've agreed a joint statement on energy security. This underscores our commitment to ensuring that essential goods, both food and energy, continue to flow between our two countries. And I'm pleased that our energy ministers have agreed to continue working together to coordinate our response to this global crisis and ensure a continued trade in energy. We've also agreed a partnership on red meat processing and trade. This agreement will support bilateral halal meat trade, boosting Australian red meat exports and supporting Malaysia's food security, whilst boosting jobs on Australian farms and in processing facilities. We also discussed how to deepen our trade and economic relationship, including through Invested, which is Australia's Southeast Asia economic strategy to 2040. This includes Monash University's investment into a new campus that I was delighted to launch at the end of last year. Prime Minister Anwar and I also discussed developments in our region and around the world. The nations in our region know that Australia is not one of those friends that only rings up when they want something. We engage constructively in good times and in hard times. And the Indo-Pacific is not a place that we visit, it's our home. A diverse and dynamic region with ASEAN's centrality to its strength and its success. I thank Prime Minister for your warmth and hospitality and your friendship, for the discussions that we have regularly on the phone as well as these face-to-face meetings, and I look forward to meeting with you on the sidelines of the ASEAN East Asia Summit in the Philippines in months ahead. I know that the relationship between Australia and Malaysia will continue to strengthen in the years ahead, and that we will continue working together as partners and friends during this time of global uncertainty. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we now invite media from Malaysia, followed by Australia, to ask questions to both Prime Ministers.
Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon, Mr. President, Datuk Seri.